Welcome to our viewers in Nigeria and across the world. This is Lunchtime Politics, coming to you live from Channels Television in Lagos. I'm Kayode Okikulu. First, the highlights. Well, it's another day, another twist in the unending political drama playing out in Rivers State. While the faction in the APC controversially suspends the state's chairman of the party, the PDP continues its protest at the INEC office. It's day 4 now. And youths in Imo State protest against INEC's delay in issuing certificate of return to members-elect from Idiato South and Idiato North, about a week after others got theirs. Northern Group asks the All Progressives Congress zone Senate presidency to Southeast for equity and national cohesion. Well, for 4 days in a row now, the People's Democratic Party, PDP, in Rivers State has been laying siege to the INEC office in the state capital, Port Harcourt. But today, the protest received some more numbers, with the presence of National Assembly members, including Senator Barnard Ampigi and Kingsley Chinda, who joined in the call for INEC to allow joint inspection of electoral materials. And particularly for today, the call has been for the issuance of certified true copies of result sheets. Addressing journalists at the INEC office on Abba Road, the federal lawmakers urged the commission to respect the rule of law in the handling of such sensitive issue as the inspection of election materials. Test which has seen the protesters camping in front of INEC's office has seen the infusion of various elements and activities, from traditional processions and rituals to music performances, dancing, and the likes. The ruling party in the state, whose governorship candidate, Simini Alai Fubara, was declared winner in the governorship election, is vowing to continue the protests until their requests are granted. Staying in Rivers, following the clash between the APC and PDP members in Port Harcourt on Monday, resulting from an attempt, the governorship candidate of the APC to access the INEC office for certified true copies of election documents, the Rivers State Police Command has invited Mr. Toye Cole, that's the APC's governorship candidate, for questioning. The Commissioner of Police, Okonefyong, who confirmed this to Channels Television, says Mr. Cole was asked to come with his aides, who are policemen, because the allegation against him is that his aides shot and killed somebody. He also clarified that the police is inviting some members of the PDP in relation to the same allegations as well. Specifically, he said the chairman of Ikwere local government area, the deputy speaker of the House of Assembly, and the chairman of Falga were invited to come and equally help the police with the investigation. And when pressed on whether or not someone actually died, he said they're investigating. And the allegation is that 2 people were shot and 1 person was killed. In his words, we're now insisting that they should show us the corpse of the person who died, and until that is done, we cannot confirm any death. For more from Rivers State, it appears a fresh crisis is brewing now in the All Progressives Congress in the state, as some members of the State Executive Council announced the suspension of the state chairman of the party, Emeka Bekee. The executive members, led by the state deputy chairman, Amite Farabo, with the communique read by state official Chike Enyinda, also announced the suspension of the state legal advisor, Ihaichuku Asubuike, and the state publicity secretary, Darlington Wauju. Well, they accused the said suspended executive members of involvement in anti-party activities, gross misconduct, and financial mismanagement. They also berated the state leader of the party and immediate past Minister of Transportation, Mr. Rotimi Amechi, for what they described as his failure to lead the APC in Rivers State to victory since leaving office as governor in 2015. Now, the communique was signed by all the 10 members who were present at the media briefing.
It is on record that the Right Honorable Chibike Rotimi Amechi, Chief Emeka Bekee, and the legal advisor, Mr. Ihia Ichiku Azubike, voted for Atiku Abubakar, the candidate of the People's Democratic Party in the just concluded election. However, this earlier instruction by Right Honorable Rotimi Amechi to vote for People's Democratic Party boomeranged on our party during the governorship election of 18th March 2023. And this accounted for the party's loss in the 18th March governorship election and that of Rivers House of Assembly election. Instead of being remorseful for that, for what he did to the party, Right Honorable Chief Rotimi Amechi decided to hinge the blame on our dear President-elect Asiwaju Ahmed Tinubu, claiming that he single-handedly appointed the INEC chairman, Professor Yakubu Mahmood. As party faithfuls, we consider this statement by Right Honorable Amechi as an affront to our President-elect and the highest level of anti-party activity. Therefore, we stand before the world today to totally condemn and disassociate ourselves from those statements credited to Right Honorable Chibuka Amechi.
Well, in a swift reaction, the Rivers State chapter of the All Progressives Congress is debunking the alleged suspension of a state party chairman, Mr. Emeka Bekele, by a faction of the party in the state. Addressing a press briefing as well at the party's state secretariat in Port Harcourt, the publicity secretary, Darlington Walju, and the chairman, along with 16 other members of the party executives, pointed out that according to the party's constitution, the state working committee does not have the powers to suspend any member of the party in the state, as their powers end at recommendations to the National Working Committee.
I'm surprised to hear that a few persons they sat in somewhere to say they have been suspended. First, they don't have that constitutional power. I think they should read their constitution. One of them is a doctor, and I have so much respect for him. You should go through the constitution before taking certain decisions. You just don't play into the gallery because probably you've collected money from one person, you want to play into that. I think they don't have the moral right to say I'm suspended. If you understand what is happening to the party, distraction, that's what they want to do, nothing more. If you watch in the last couple of the PDP has been there in the front of INEC, they said they will be there till Friday. That's the last day we're going to file our case in the tribunal. But it's going to be shocking to them that we're going to file our case in the tribunal.
Well, we'll bring you more on the intrigues playing out in River State, particularly in the All Progressives Congress. But let's head over to Bauchi State and to a word of promise from one of the governors who is returning for a second term. That's Bauchi State's Bala Mohammed, who says that he'll perform even better in his second tenure than he did in his first term. Governor Mohammed gave the pledge while inaugurating two committees. One is a transition committee, which has been constituted to ensure a seamless transition to what he called a higher level of performance for his second tenure. The second committee is a technical committee, which is saddled with the responsibility of reviewing the blueprint for the budget project and map out new strategies for developing the state.
The terms of reference of the committee are as follows: to examine the roadmap of my Bauchi project and its level of implementation so far. 2, suggest ways and means for continuity of my Bauchi project, especially new areas of funding up to 2027. 3, propose major projects to be executed within the following periods. First 100 days in office, first 1 year in office, and 4 years in office. 4, to make any recommendation or recommendations that will accelerate development of the state. 5, to suggest the way forward towards addressing the lingering issue of gratuity. 6, to make any recommendation on the security situation in the state. 7, to make any recommendation incidental to the committee's assignment which will be beneficial to the people and government of Bauchi State. I would like to call on members of the technical committee to bring their wells of knowledge and experience into play in the discharge of their very important assignment. We have a duty to take Bauchi State to a greater height so that we can be proud of it tomorrow. We want to leave legacies and landmarks.
Now let's bring you more on the situation in River State, which is unfolding fast and from different angles. Might be difficult to wrap your head around, but not to worry. Let's bring you some backstory to what's going on in the All Progressives Congress. Don't forget, the APC is the opposition in River State, with this said suspension of the chairman of the party in the state and some other executive members. We're joined virtually this afternoon by Mr. Eyinda Chike, who read that communique. He's described as a special leader in the party. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us on Lunchtime Politics.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much.
Let's begin with this, straight to it. On what authority and what constitutional provision did you rely on to suspend the chairman and the other members of the executive whom you read out there that they are suspended?
The constitution of APC is not what I think I'm here to interpret, but all that is in our power is that we are working committee members of APC, and we have the right to checkmate, approve, and authenticate the activities of the Executive Council. It is not a rocket science. It is a statutory obligation.
Right. So the question is, where do you derive those powers, particularly to suspend the chairman? What part of your party's constitution, which I imagine that you're fully aware of, so what part gives you those powers? Because that has been under contention. So I'd like to give a side of the story so Nigerians can understand where this is coming from.
That executive committee met and suspended the chairman. It doesn't call that I will come here and begin to tell you what area of the Constitution. I understand also that they have also passed a vote of no confidence on him. What area of the Constitution also did they derive it from?
Okay, let me give you some more insight. Let me give you some side to this.
Because
right.
I'm not in the court of law.
No, it's okay. It's not a court of law. Your constitution is out there, and you're a party man, so it's expected that you have a full grasp of the party's constitution. But let me give you the reaction of the Rivers APC. The chairman says that the State Working Committee does not have the powers to suspend any member of the party according to the constitution of the APC, as their powers end at recommendation to the National Working Committee. So for them, they say that this is not even contained in the party's constitution. Therefore, they deem your actions as unconstitutional. Do you agree with that?
Our action is subject to the ratification of the National Executive Committee. I agree right well, and which the National Executive Committee, they are there. The report is right on their table. So everybody will keep calm until the outcome of the Special Committee on Inquiry on the state of APC, before they also begin to have a vote of no confidence.
All right.
I will first of the Executive Committee will first of all act according to their power and seek ratification.
All right. Let's wind down with this one. It's been said that the main party in the state, the PDP, is behind all of this. In fact, some have alleged that you were paid and others were paid to carry out this. Can you speak to Nigerians and tell them the truth? Were you paid to do this?
How can I be paid? How much will be paid to me to remain quiet? And how much will be paid to us to remain quiet for 2 years? And how much will be paid now to talk? That all the executive members from the section of the executive tenure have been quiet. How much did they pay? That we refuse to talk now, we have been paid. During election, a point out issue, they said, yeah, Magnus Abe. After election, you have failed. Go out and let us threaten things.
Right.
Now we have been paid by His Excellency Yeso Wike. That is a laughable issue.
So are you confirming? Are you denying?
In the executive council that we are duly elected.
Okay, so you're denying. Pardon me. So you're denying that you've not been paid.
If they have the record, they should bring it forward.
Okay.
If they have the record that I have been paid and where, when, how, and how much.
All right, we have to go now, but I was expecting at least a yes or no, so they can know pointedly that this is your stand.
It's not a yes or no thing. From my answer, you have known that it's a concocted story.
You've actually not told me whether or not you've been paid. That's why I'm trying to get that clearly out.
I have not been paid. I was never paid. I'm standing up for the benefit of the party.
All right. And I think it's important to put that on record. And would like to thank you for clearing the air on that one. We've been speaking with Mr. Ayinda Chike, who is the special leader. That's how he is described in the party. Thank you so much for providing insight, at least to your side of this. Thank you once again.
Thank you for having me.
Paul, thank you for staying with us. More stories now. Youth from Idiato South and North State constituency in Imo State have staged a peaceful protest at the premises of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, in the state, calling on the leadership of INEC to immediately present certificate of return to the members-elect of Idiato South and Idiato North State constituency after being declared the winner of the March 18th State Assembly election. The protesters, who carried various placards with inscriptions, urged INEC not to delay further in presenting certificates of return to Johnson Duru of Idiato South State constituency and Okechukwu Udeze of Idiato North constituency, who were declared winners in their areas. They say that just as the certificates were given to winners of election from other state constituencies, it should be given to them, and they are saying it will be without rancor.
So we are here actually to register our displeasure on the recalcitrant delay of issuance of his certificate of return. And that is why we are here to tell the whole world, to let INEC know, to let the youth of Idiato South are really aggrieved about the delay of issuance of his certificate of returns. And that is the reason why we are here, to give them the mandate, to instruct them and to ask them to issue the certificate without due delay.
All right, let's bring you some more to that unfolding in Rivers State APC. We're now being joined by Mr. Darlington Waju, who's the Publicity Secretary of the Rivers APC, joining us virtually as well. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us on the program. So you've seen that action which was carried out. There's been some response, but I mean, we just spoke to Mr. Ayinda Chike, who's given us the side to that story, and some of the issues raised in that communique read at that press briefing are quite weighty. Some of them speaking to, the former governor of a state and former minister of transportation, and, his activities, which they allege was anti-party and all of that. But first, speak to the position of at least your faction, if we could use that, regarding this suspension that was carried out, which they are saying they're doing it for the good of the party.
Well, good afternoon, Nigerians. Clearly, there are no factions in APC in Rivers State. Now, what you see playing out is part of the dramatization of the schemes and schemings of the PDP in Rivers State to continuously and perpetually distract the APC, distract our governorship candidates from challenging the very outrageous and shambolic elections conducted on the 18th of March 2023 in Rivers State. Now, do not forget the fact that in the past 3 days or so, we have had series of protests by the People's Democratic Party blocking people from accessing a public facility, a government-owned facility, and the police is completely doing nothing about it. Everybody is keeping quiet about it because they do not want any opposition party to challenge the sham of an election that was conducted in Rivers on the 18th of March. Now, the persons who claim to have suspended the chairman of the party and 2 other executive officers of the party are persons who are clearly, from the activities they are carrying out, are playing the script of the PDP. If you are fighting for the interest of the stability of our great party, what then is a card-carrying member of the PDP? What is he doing endorsing a communique of the All Progressive Congress Party? I wish that your camera will capture this very well. This person is number 9 on the list of the so-called communicators suspending the chairman of the All Progressive Congress in Rivers State. This is a script being played from behind by the PDP. They have been paid to do what they are doing. We are aware, and every genuine member of the All Progressive Congress Party are all aware of this. Now, the person they are also projecting to act as chairman was busy campaigning for the APM candidate in his own constituency in Asarito local government area of Rivers State. This is the person they are projecting to be acting as chairman of the All Progressive Congress Party, someone who openly endorsed and campaigned for the candidates of another party. These are the schemes of the People's Democratic Party, and the APC can never be distracted by such schemes.
Well, it's quite interesting. By the way, I spoke to Mr. Aindachike earlier on, and I asked him pointedly if, that payment allegation is true. And he said no, that he hasn't been paid. But it's quite interesting that, the allegation from their side.
There is no way he would accept being paid on national TV. It won't be possible. He cannot accept being paid on national TV. You should know that.
So the allegations, or at least some of the issues raised by that side, is that they say that the former governor, that's Mr. Rotimi Amechi, before the 2023 election, directed members of the APC to vote for the candidate of the PDP, Atiku Abubakar. For that, they said they thought it was anti-party. It's interesting that you're also saying one of them was carrying out anti-party activities. Another was, they say that instead of being...
Two, not one.
Right. They also said instead of him being remorseful...
I've shown pictorial evidences.
Right. Let me just land on this point I'm trying to make so you can get your response through. They also said that instead of him being remorseful for his alleged failed leadership, he openly criticized the president-elect, who is a member of the party, for having a hand in the appointment of INEC chairman, Professor Mahmood. So they also raised issues with that. And I wonder what your response to that is, because, again, they're insisting that they're doing this for the good of the party.
Well, I think that explanation for the despicable act that was carried out yesterday morning it amounts to nothing. It amounts to nothing because this same fellow, if they are truly members of the All Progressive Congress in Rivers State, are aware of the fact that a certain governor of Bauchi State, Dave Umahi, came to Port Harcourt and openly campaigned against the APC. That Adam Soshomole, former governor of Edo State, came to Rivers State and campaigned against the APC. That 3 governors from the southwest of the APC extraction came to Rivers State and campaigned, frolicking, dining with the governor of Rivers State. And these persons, if they claim to be so patriotic, if they claim to so much be in love with justice,
right,
they should have been able to speak out. Why did they not speak out? When these clear acts of anti-party, when these acts of
all right, Mr. Waju, we have to go now. Pardon me, we have to go now, but just tell Nigerians quickly, in 10 seconds, pardon me, Mr. Waju, because of time, if you can hear me, I just want to get this across to you. Mr. Waju, I just want to quickly get this across to you because of time. Has Mr. Toyeko been able to file the petition? Because we understand that the Friday deadline is fast approaching. Has he been able to do that?
Yes, he has.
He has. All right. We'd like to thank you so much. We'll definitely be speaking to you in the coming days if there is a need for it. But we've been speaking with Mr. Darlington Waju, the Publicity Secretary of Rivers APC, giving the side of his, his executive, the party's chairman himself on this one. Thank you so much for your time on the program.
Thanks for having me.
Let's now take you across the states now. The Benue State Governor-elect, Reverend Father Hyacinth Alia, has described the state's civil service as being in a state of near collapse, and he has described himself as one who has come to infuse life into it and keep it moving. In a chat with State House correspondents after meeting with the president, the governor-elect bemoaned the backlog of unpaid salaries, pensions, and gratuities owed by the state government. Well, that's so much we can take on this episode of Lunchtime Politics. Yes, you've been served. By the way, you can catch up with all the political stories on our website, channelstv.com, or just head over to our social media platforms. In the meantime, I'm Kaido Hikilu. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.